Hello, everyone, and welcome to Joyful Julie Live birthday edition. I had planned on having like balloons and things in the background, but it didn't happen. So just take my word for it when I say it's my birthday. I know there's a few other June 14th birthdays out there. So happy birthday to you. Happy Flag Day, everyone. Hey, Lisa Marie, thanks for coming in. If you are tuning in, please drop a comment so that we know you're here. Thank you, Chris, and thank you for being backstage again with me tonight. I'm excited about my guest tonight, and I guess I say that all the time. I should be excited about all my guests because they are fun and interesting people, but I just love being able to introduce them to my whole network and in turn be introduced to their network as well. But you will love Miss Anna Rutherford, so come on out. Yay!
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you doing? Hi, everybody.
Doing good. Hey, Phil. I don't know if you or if anybody who's here was on last week. Phil Davis was my guest, and it's probably not a widely known fact, but he is a trained opera singer, and he graced us with some of his vocal talents last week, including singing Happy Early Birthday to Me. If I'd have had more time, I was going to go cut that clip so that we could play it again, but maybe that'll just be a post for later. But
yeah, that would be a cool post. I actually did start watching that live, and then where you had technical difficulties.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's like a full show now, which is cool, right? But,
yeah. Yeah, that was my first live being in the house instead of down at the camper. And yeah, it just like completely blipped and froze. And like my sister-in-law came in, she's like, "You're frozen." And I was like, "I know, I'm trying to like fix it." So I was very glad that Chris was backstage to be like, "All right, let's just keep this going while she figures her stuff out." So yeah, you never know what's going to happen when you go live. That's kind of the fun and the thrill of it. So it's good.
That is true.
It's good.
That is very true.
Yeah.
So we're going to ride
when is your birthday?
My birthday is February 15th, right after Valentine's
Day. Right after Valentine's Day. I know a lot of people.
Go ahead.
I know a lot of February birthday people. So.
Oh, yeah. I actually used to tell my siblings, like, there's no reason that you can't get me chocolates or flowers because it's the day after Valentine's Day. So it's like everything is marked down. You know what I mean? It's like I should be getting all of the love on my birthday.
Exactly. Exactly.
But no, I actually have I know a lot of people. I say a lot of people. My friend Mona Lisa, her birthday's today as well.
So, oh, awesome.
Yeah, and she was saying she knows some people's birthdays who are this week as well. I believe 2 other people in our church. So it's a popular week. It's a good day to be born, I guess.
It is. It's good. Like I think it was Michelle, I'm drawing a blank on her last name, Pickle. She posted a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you follow her. Hironaka. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but she has a pickle in her headline. Yeah, Hironaka. She posted a couple weeks ago, maybe, about how like she subconsciously, when she learns somebody's birthday, she counts backwards 9 months and like figures out what holiday like happened like approximately 9 months before their birthday. And she's like, "Please tell me I'm not the only one that does this." And I'm like, "No, I totally do that too." I never did it until like I had kids because then it was different. But yeah, so now I'm trying to remember in my head like what holiday is 9 months ago. Like what is that, like Labor Day maybe?
I honestly don't know.
I don't know either.
Not right. We're gonna go with
somebody else. Somebody else, feel free to do that math.
Right, I know, and let us know. I've actually never done that, so
yeah,
that's interesting.
You probably will now that little like worm has been planted. It's probably like one of those things like you can't unsee it.
I know, right? So is there a reason that she does that? Is it like, is the 9-month thing some sort of, or is it just a thing she does?
It's just a thing. Like, okay. I don't know if she said like why she started doing it, but it's just kind of one of like her quirky things.
Yeah.
So Like, I get it because I do it too. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
especially if like you find a cluster of like birthdays all at one time. I'm like, what was very popular like 9 months ago? I know since you're like a Valentine's Day close birthday, I know I have friends who hunt, and they're like, be careful on Valentine's Day because you don't want to be in the hospital during hunting season.
Oh, yeah, that wouldn't be good. I'm not a hunter, but it sounds like something you don't want to be missing out on.
So, yeah, good deal.
That's
good fun.
Cool.
I love all the birthday wishes. Thank you, everyone, for chiming in here in the comments. That's what makes it fun. Do you have any birthdays? Anniversary is the 31st, born in September. So, yeah, that one's pretty easy to figure out, Chris.
Okay. Everything's clicking now because 9 months is like you're carrying a baby for 9 months.
Yeah.
I'm connecting all of the dots, and that's pretty cool.
Sorry, that was one of my squirrel moments. So, but yeah, you'll probably do that forever now, just because you're like, oh, Julie put this worm in my head on our live, and I'm never gonna forget it now.
I know I'm not, but that's interesting.
Yeah,
this is really cool. Seeing all the comments from everybody over here on the side. I guess I had never used Restream before, so this is cool.
Yeah, Restream is awesome. It's the only one I've ever used because Chris is my friend, is the live streaming guy, and he's like, here, use this. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And thank you, Shannon, for the birthday wish. I appreciate that. But yeah, it's pretty cool being able to see the comments come in. And were you able to pair your channels too?
I was, yeah.
Okay.
It was on here and got all that. It's pretty user friendly, so this is really cool.
Yeah, so if somebody's watching on your page and they comment in on what we see, it'll have a purple like paired thing, or at least that's what it'll show up on my side. So you can tell who's commenting from whose page. So, yeah. Do you have any like birthday traditions or like favorite like dessert meal, anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, as far as birthday traditions, so I'm Mexican, so I feel like I have to have a piñata at every birthday.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I feel like, Julie, you need a piñata right now. I told you I almost had the balloons, but having the piñata would have been cool. I feel like that's really the only thing that I do for my kids, not for me. But to be frank, I don't really think that I have, and this is going to sound really bad as a parent, I don't really think I have like those like core traditions that maybe my kids can pass down except for the piñata. So I think this might be called to make them.
Well, like, hey Mark, thanks for stopping in. Honestly, I don't know that I have any really like birthday traditions either. When I think of like birthday traditions, I think of food. Yes, Phil, more sugar. So when I was growing up, my mom would always make ribs. And so like that was like my birthday meal. And so like I'm one of those people, like I don't eat ribs in public because guaranteed barbecue sauce is going to be everywhere. So that's like ribs and like mud pie. That's like my birthday traditions or meals typically. Since moving to Oklahoma, my dessert of choice is pineapple upside down cake because I'd never had that before I moved here. And it's my favorite.
Yeah, that sounds really good. So, okay, I think you may have shared with me before. So where were you at before Oklahoma? And how long?
I grew up, actually today marks 17 years since I moved. So we left home where I grew up on my 20th birthday to move me to Oklahoma to go to Oklahoma State. So I started in Washington State. So Eastern Washington, a town called Moses Lake. It's a farming community. Not rain and trees like Seattle, like a lot of people think when they think of Washington State. It's pretty flat, like Western Kansas, Western Oklahoma. I haven't seen like a lot of other states to know of like regions where it like looks like home, but those two are pretty comparable.
That's pretty cool. So when you say you moved here, so was it you and your entire family, or do you still have family there? Oh, okay.
My whole family is still there. Yeah, just
cool.
me. Just moved down to go to college and then never left. So
yeah, you fell in love with Oklahoma.
I did. I fell in love with Oklahoma, and I fell in love with a boy who was from here.
Yeah.
So that daggum boy.
Well, that's awesome. Well, it's a lot of celebrations today. I feel like we need to sing you happy birthday, but then it would only be me, honestly.
Maybe
I definitely walked into that one.
Maybe Chris can go like find a happy birthday song and we can play it later.
Yeah,
maybe
Chris, maybe, or he can hop on and we can both sing you happy birthday.
There you go.
Myself, you
know. What type of dessert are we rocking for the birthday? I did not know you were a pastry chef. I don't think that came up in our visit that we had, Mark. But today, because it was like middle of the week and kind of crazy, my mother-in-law made snickerdoodles, and my sister-in-law picked up a chocolate cookie cream cheesecake type thing, which was very close to like the mud pie that I like. So, and I do like snickerdoodles. So, as a Texan, I have a hard time fathoming falling in love with Oklahoma. It's okay. It's okay, Chris. Hey, Cody.
So I'm guessing Chris is from Texas. I don't know why, but I feel like Texas always has the comments. You know what I mean? Like the Oklahoma comments.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, I think one of like the very first jokes that he told me was, you know why Texas doesn't fall into the ocean? I'm like, why? It's like, because Oklahoma sucks so hard. I'm like, geez, Chris, thanks.
Wow.
There's the joke. There's the joke.
Chris, I totally disagree.
Yes. So are you originally from Oklahoma?
I'm not.
Where do you grow up?
I'm a diehard Oklahoma fan. I'm originally from Mexico.
Okay.
So we moved here when I was 9 years old. My parents moved our entire family here, and we had an uncle already here. And then we had another aunt that moved here, but most of our family is still in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So I've pretty much been here ever since. I've traveled, of course, to other states. Almost moved to Maryland at one point for work, but I've been here. God has just kept me in Oklahoma.
Yep.
And there's now things are kind of making sense with so many things happening. But
yeah, it has a way of like getting like in you. Like I knew from like the first moment that I visited, like this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, which I know my Washington family who like if they're not watching now, they will watch later because they like to tell me, "Oh, I've been watching your shows and it's so interesting." Awesome. They're gonna hate that I talk about how much I love Oklahoma. But yeah, from the very first time we visited, like definitely felt this is where I'm meant to be. So
yeah, that is so cool. I love hearing that because even though I was really young and I hated it, like when I was young, I was like, I didn't speak any English. I had no friends. I was like, this is going to suck forever. Like, you know, Chris's joke I probably would have laughed a lot back then. But it just makes me feel really good that Oklahoma has that effect on people. We actually have my church, which is Victory Outreach. They just moved to Oklahoma City like 2 months ago. So their entire team came from California. I don't necessarily hate Oklahoma. I know, Chris. Good. I know you have to get in that joke. But they also love Oklahoma. And, you know, I think when God has you on a mission and a certain purpose, like you just like set roots where he plants you and kind of go from there, which I think is a beautiful thing. But I just like whenever people say that, I'm like, yeah, Oklahoma's pretty great.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. I love that. I love hearing that from other people too, like you. Like it just, especially from somebody else who didn't grow up. I mean, coming here at 9, like you kind of did do your growing up years, but who wasn't like born, like people say, born and bred here.
Right.
So yes, we're having church on LinkedIn. Yes. Can I get an amen?
Amen. We totally should
right.
have it on LinkedIn. I like visiting. Yeah, the mountains are good.
I like visiting the mountains. So it's good. So you mentioned you almost moved to Maryland for work. So let's talk about what you do.
Yeah.
And just pick a place and start.
Yeah. So currently what I do, really my mission is I help ignite women to higher levels of influence. And I do this through coaching, training, and transformational events. So really my passion is just helping women to develop their leadership skills. So aside from that, I have a tool that I use, which is a public speaking and leadership training that is women focused. So that is something that I use within my business to help my clients just level up their presence on stage or on camera. And to be honest with you, whenever I first started that, I was just like okay with being in the background. Like I never expected to be like talking to you online right now. Like being a speaker was not one of my goals. I was just like, I'm okay being a consultant. Like I'm okay getting other people to reach like their goals with speaking and like their goals with whatever it has to do with influence within their niche or whatnot. But then I was kind of called, and it's also a good business strategy, honestly.
Yeah.
So here I am, but that's currently what I do. So I work one-on-one with women. And then aside from that, I am right now, I have to do a shameless plug here for Remerge, Oklahoma County, because the ladies over there are awesome and their team are great at helping the clients that are currently in the program. So I am over there as well for some of my time during the week. So
very cool. Very cool. So what type of women do you work with? Is there a specific like industry or career or like level of career that you work with?
Yeah. So really whenever I work with women in speaking of their career, so like as a career coach, most of the time the women that come to me are just either not feeling fulfilled in their current position or they are just looking for something new. So that could be like a career pivot. It could be a completely different career field. I've worked with women that are going to be retiring and they just want to be doing something different and they don't know what that is. So we really, through coaching and asking those right questions, just getting them to pull out like that next step of purpose for them. So that of course comes with a whole like process of like questions and their core values and what that looks like in their beliefs. But that's normally the women that come to me when it comes to career coaching. And I'm slowly, I say slowly, for the last 6 months, I've really been led more towards women and ministry. So I do work with a lot of faith-based women. And that's really where my heart is at. But to answer your question, I've worked both with entry-level women and then also, women that are, like I said, due to retire soon. And they want that next thing. So
very cool. Very cool. So how long have you been doing this?
So I've officially been doing it for a year full time.
Okay.
And I think whenever we first spoke, I think I had just started doing it. Maybe I had like a couple months or 3 months or so. And I honestly, the first time that we hopped on a Zoom call, I think it was Zoom. Whenever we hopped off, I was like, I hope Julie doesn't think I'm weird.
No, not at all.
Like, totally, because I guess it was so fresh for me to like go out there and step out on my own that whenever I saw somebody else doing that same exact thing, I was like, oh my gosh, how are you feeling? Like, how's it going?
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do? So it was just like so much curiosity. So I was like, wow, she's totally gonna think I'm weird.
No, not at all. No, I love, like you said, I don't think I had realized that you were that new into it, because I'm brand new into it. And yeah, it was nice being able to connect with somebody who's, I think we don't do the exact same things, but what we do and who we work with is definitely in sync, I think.
Yeah.
So
yes, absolutely. I think that we talked about that too whenever we first met. Like it's somewhat the same client, but we serve them with a different type of like purpose and solution, which I think is cool. And I think that could be another conversation on its own, where we could, where I could serve you with information and stuff. But yeah, absolutely. So Chris said, be weird. Anything less than weird is boring. So I've had to definitely embrace my weirdness.
Yeah, no, I do too. Cause it's what makes us us.
Yeah.
So Phil is now on Facebook. Wasn't Phil on LinkedIn earlier and now he's on the Facebook side? Okay. And so interesting. Do you follow him on LinkedIn?
I don't, but I'm going to need to. If you don't,
yes, you definitely should. So sorry, I just like my Facebook page replied to Phil. Like I didn't do that. I didn't do that. Oh, Chris did that. Okay. I'm like, who's in my Facebook?
Yeah, AI got really advanced all of a sudden, and we did not realize.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so you can post comments from Restream back to Facebook.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Good to know. I had no idea because you can't do it with LinkedIn. So, okay.
Oh.
Now we know that now. Okay. Because on my Facebook business page, somebody dropped an inappropriate comment and I was like, who the heck are you? Get off my life.
Yeah.
But that's the glory of like, nobody else sees it because it just comes through the Restream chat. So anyway, sorry, totally sidetracked us there.
No, you're fine because that actually gives me insight on how it works like backstage because I can see it, but I guess they see something completely different. So I'm up to speed on that too.
Yeah. I mean, I think almost every live that I've done, there's been like, oh, hey, did you know Restream can do this? And it's like a little educational session too.
Right. The more
and now,
you know.
Now that it popped up or Phil popped up again, Phil Davis, he is also a like career coach. And you mentioned when you were talking about being fulfilled, like that's Phil's kind of like tagline, fulfillment, but it's with Phil, like his name, PHIL in the middle.
Yes.
So he's definitely one that you should connect with. He's a cool dude.
Nice.
Always full of positivity and putting good things out into the world and just a genuine person. So
yeah, no, I definitely need to connect. Like I said, I started watching it. I started watching the live stream where you had him on the, I want to call it a show where you had him on the show.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to the point where I got to connect, but I did see that he's also a career coach. And that is also very crafty fulfillment. I like that. It's really cool.
Yes. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I totally lost track of where we were in our conversation. Which happens. It seems to happen every single time. You think I'd be better by now, but
no, I mean, I guess that's what makes it, like good, like just like the flow, I guess. Although you do have structure in your flow, which I think is nice. just to kind of stay on the flow of being off track, I have the exact same curtains that you do.
Oh, really? Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. So, we're living with my brother and sister-in-law right now. And so I mean, she's 3.5 now, but it was the baby's room. And so that's why the walls are lovely, like grayish purple, and I've got pink and white curtains. But yeah, I'm glad you have the same curtains.
Yeah. So mine are, I guess now that they're pink, they're not the exact same because it's not pink the ones that I have. They're striped, and I completely fell in love with them. But anyway.
Yeah, anyways, it's all good. It's all good. So speaking of things that you like, I love your jacket. I love floral prints. So it's very pretty.
Thank you. I got it a couple weeks ago, and then I've gotten so many compliments on it, of course. But
of course, I would too.
Yes.
And when you're inside air conditioning, you can wear those jackets because you know you're not wearing them outside right now.
I know. Yeah. Well, we had our grand opening for our church on Sunday, and I was wearing a jean jacket. I was wearing a pretty light dress, so it wasn't too bad. But I saw pictures of myself today, I guess this morning, and I was like, wow, hot mess express. I did not even realize. So now that you're mentioning the whole it's so warm outside, we have to rethink the blazer situation sometimes. Yeah. But this one's pretty thin. It's not too bad.
That's good. So, gotta have those layering pieces available.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how are you? Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Jinx. So I was gonna say, so how are you doing? I know that we serve the same client, you know, and you're still pretty new. Well, I wouldn't even say you're new because but I understand what you mean by that. So how's it going? I mean, how are you doing?
It's life as an entrepreneur is different. So I officially started in mid-November. So I'm going to claim the new until at least the year mark. Because if I were in an actual job, or not an actual job, but working for somebody, I would definitely feel new for at least a year. But it's going okay. I've done, when I first started, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to focus on. And so that has kind of been fluid as I've gone along trying to figure that out. But really focusing now on targeting busy business leaders or managers, entrepreneurs, people generally who have a whole lot of responsibilities and constantly are feeling I don't have enough time to do all the things that I have to do. Because with my science of timing training, we help them walk through identifying when they're most productive, what their most important tasks are, and then matching those tasks to the right time so that people can get the most important things done and feel good about it with less stress. Chris says he doesn't have enough time. Maybe he should get some training. Yes. I know a gal, Chris. I can hook you up.
But I don't have the time.
I don't have time.
That's
classic.
Funny. Yes, Chris, we know you are a funny guy, but in that same context, it's totally true that lack of time is also scarcity mindset. Right? I don't know if you go into that with your clients, but it's so true. Whenever I started to look at it in that way, it made things so much differently. It just made sense. It made everything just kind of transformed as far as the way that I would schedule my time or time block my time. But that's really cool what you do, because it is important, of course, that we get those tasks done whenever we're most energized, or whenever we can serve our client in our best self. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. There's a lot of self-awareness that goes along with it too, just recognizing why we are the way we are and why we do the things that we do. And I know when I first started putting together this training and digging deeper into the topic, it's going all the way back to high school. It's all those things make sense now, because I am very much a night owl. Like, it sounds bad to say, but like, I feel like my brain doesn't turn on until about 5 o'clock. Like, I can get things done throughout the day, but like last night I sat down, it's about 4:30-ish, and like things just started flowing. And like everybody else, the majority of the rest of the world is like signing off and getting ready to go, kick back and have a cold iced tea or whatever they want to drink. And I'm like ready to get things done, and like I'm ready to send emails and I'm ready to make phone calls, and it's like nobody's going to answer the phone at 6:30 in the evening.
Yeah.
So recognizing that about myself, like I can do the prep work in the evenings when I'm good and energized, and then the majority of the world is the opposite. Like, they are more productive like in the morning or like before noon, basically. And I have one of my monthly clients. I do training once a month at 8 o'clock in Stillwater, which is about an hour from me. So that's like a really early morning for me, but it's what's best for them. And so on that same note, like I do my prep before when I am energized and at my best, and then I can turn around and deliver that to them in the morning. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of self-awareness that goes into those things.
Right. That's really cool. No, absolutely. Yeah, because I was going to ask you, so how do you normally get your client like to make that shift? But it necessarily wouldn't be that shift where they have to do everything in the morning, or, like you, I guess, allocate your time to where it fits the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of those like productivity hacks or tips or whatever. You're productive from 10 to 11 and 2 to 3. That's very specific, Jacob.
It is very specific.
Very specific.
But
if it works for you, then
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to know what you do in between as well. That was Chris's question.
Chris, lots of coffee.
Yes, lots of coffee. But like a lot of like what you read about like productivity and getting things done is like put all your hard stuff in the morning and do all that, like get that knocked out first. And like I tried to do that, and it always just felt like such a struggle and such a slog, because it's like I'm trying to do this. This is what, somebody says I should do. And that was before I knew like about this training that I do and I share with other people now. It's like that doesn't work for everybody, because not everybody is wired that way. And it's good for business owners and especially like managers to recognize that, because if you've got like 8 people on your team and half of them are larks or third birds, which are more productive early in the day, and half of them are owls where their productivity doesn't hit till later in the afternoon, and you're asking them to perform at the same levels, like they can probably do it, but those people who are operating during their off time are having to work much harder. And so just if you have flexibility to accommodate people's different tendencies, like it can go a long way as far as being satisfied with your job and feeling like you're seen and heard and being able to do your best work. So there's a lot of different applications that it can be really good for, like people like in the employee role and also in the leadership role, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's really cool. It's so important to understand the way that your team works and what works for them, and being able to serve them in that way, because it makes the difference when it comes to like employee engagement. And then also the tools that you can give them to better serve them, because let's say you don't have that flexibility, right? Maybe you have to get things done at this time. Like, what can you give your team? Like, what can you give that specific person or employee to help them manage their time better or be more productive in that that hour? So that is really cool.
Yeah. I can't remember which one of my connections posted about it, either last night or to this morning. But it was about giving your employees the tools that they need to do the job. And I feel like this is very much one of those things, is giving them the tools that they need to do the job. This self-awareness to recognize, okay, I'm not typically at my best during this time, so here's some things that I can do to make sure that I'm giving my absolute best that I can, which is very important, especially if you're an owl like me operating in a regular like 8 to 5 business world. So there's a lot of stuff that happens before my brain turns on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, self-awareness is so important, especially anybody that's trying to, lead or manage any type of team. That's a lot of the things that we go through as far as like with coaching. Is a lot of it has to do with self-awareness, but really accepting where you are at and what you need to succeed is a huge thing. And I think we often overlook it, although you hear about it a lot. It's like something that we are always hearing, like give your team what they need, training, or Jason said, employing these tools and good training. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah. And then once you're like, at least from what I've seen, once you're in the deep of it, like within your team and working, it can be easy to just like not really, I guess, serve them.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely it has to be intentional and like a conscious effort to do those things. So, and you brought it up, and I was going to ask, so what type of, like in your career coaching, like what are some of those like self-awareness things that come up or you help people work through?
So, I mean, a lot of what my clients are missing is really lack of just clarity for one, but also confidence in their skills and their potential to be able to serve at that next level that they want to serve. Very rarely, and I say very rarely, I mean, almost never do you see somebody, or do I have somebody that comes to me and says, you know what, I want to do something, like, I want to put this in a way that's not going to sound bad, but I want to do something less impactful than what I was doing. You know, oftentimes you get somebody that really just wants to level up and they just want something more. And a lot of that does have to do with mindset. I mean, what are those blocks that are preventing you from reaching that next level? Like, and self-awareness has a lot to do with that. So, but I do see a lot of clients kind of stop at that self-awareness level. Like they're just like, I know that this needs to happen and I know that that's my goal, but they haven't bridged that gap. So through asking the right questions is really key to being able to get them to recognize what they need to do. And of course, with actionable steps and accountability, then they can kind of break that barrier and be able to bridge that gap to get to where they need to be. But yeah, a lot of it has to do with that clarity and just lack of confidence. And it was something that I also saw in myself. The reason that I started doing this work and even made the jump to work for myself, it really had a lot to do with trauma that I had experienced in my life. So before the trauma and this series of events happened in my life, I was already working towards a career. You know, I had my mind set on a goal and I was out there trying to achieve it. And then life kind of happened. And it took a lot of self-awareness for me once I got out of that abusive relationship, which is what it was, with some other stuff. It took a lot of self-awareness for me to realize what it was that was preventing me from leading myself and actually having the ability to continue with my goals to lead other people. So yeah, I mean, a lot of it has to do with that lack of confidence and that clarity.
Yeah, I can see that a lot. I see me in that, and I've talked about this with a lot of my friends, but like I don't talk about what I do nearly enough. And I think it's because like there's a little bit of that lack of confidence, like, oh, am I really qualified to do this? Like, am I really like, so that's awesome that you help people work through that.
Yeah. And I mean, the biggest thing is just meeting. Every client is different. Like, but I mean, just meeting you, Julie, and like the things that you put out into the world, and like, you know, we all have a certain type of knowledge. And this kind of goes back
Mm-hmm.
to what Chris said, like embracing your weirdness, and
Mm-hmm.
not to call you weird or call anybody weird, but you have to accept that what you have to say is valuable. Like you
Mm-hmm.
have so much knowledge and like a level of understanding that the next person or that I wouldn't be able to give, let's say, our client,
Mm-hmm.
because it's coming from you. And even if it's the exact same thing, because it's coming from you, like that could really just light a light bulb on somebody else. And but yeah, a lot of it does have to do with lack of confidence, and I see it in myself too at certain times. um, and it's just like that continuous work to just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I cannot let this anxiety or whatever it is like stop me from what I'm trying to achieve, because
Yeah.
then I mean, I guess I could just go back to, you know, step one, like, but
Yeah.
do you really want that? Like, that's not, I wasn't fulfilled then, like, so we're
Yeah.
just going to keep moving forward. And that's also another reason that I loved that you were in your camper, like making it work, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's the stuff that you got to like celebrate yourself for, because
Mm-hmm.
other people, I'm not even gonna lie, I would have thought about it like 100 times. I would have been like, I'm not gonna be in my camper, like this isn't the setup I wanted, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But we got to celebrate those moments.
Yep.
First, if we're lucky, somebody else will celebrate it for us, but if
Yeah.
we're not so lucky, nobody's ever going to mention it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we got to do it for ourselves. So but you're
That
definitely
that
more
is
than
a
welcome.
great point. Like it is awesome to be surrounded by supportive people who do cheer for you and help you celebrate, but you're absolutely right. Like we have to celebrate ourselves and we have to embrace those things that are going well. I know this is a phrase that like my mama taught me when I was young, but like you have to celebrate small victories.
Yeah.
And no matter how little it is, you can find something that you can like latch onto and celebrate. Like, all right, here's this one good thing that we're going to celebrate, and we're going to take that momentum and keep moving forward. Um,
Yeah.
and so that has served me well through my life, the events that have gone on. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
I love what Chris
No,
said.
absolutely. Surround yourself with
Yeah,
people that will celebrate. Yeah. And make you celebrate them too.
yeah,
Yes,
having good
absolutely.
people is
Yeah.
huge.
That is definitely key. One thing actually that I used to tell myself to keep myself from celebrating, which is totally contradicting myself when I think about it, is like I have to be humble, so I can't really celebrate. You know what I mean? But then
Hmm.
as I kind of worked through some of the barriers that were
Yeah.
coming up, I was like, okay, that's just an excuse for me to keep myself in this place.
Hmm.
So we got to be aware of that too. But
Yeah. And I love you. You've said you've said it several times tonight, but talking about like serving people, and
mhm,
that's one of like the mindset shifts that has really helped me kind of get out of my own head as far as like sharing and talking with people is like it really is serving them. You're giving them tools to be able to go about life and do their jobs easier, better, whatever. That is a service to them.
mhm.
And like you said, when you have that mindset of helping people and doing it for them, not for yourself, it makes things, at least for me, it makes things easier.
Yes. No, absolutely. I see that in my life too. And even just like the fruits of serving people like a
Hmm.
year ago and not expecting anything back and just like doing it because, hey, I have something that you need and go ahead and take it. Like, it's definitely not going to take away from my anointing and my blessing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, so it, it always comes back around for sure. And
Hmm.
I love that you say that because I think we could all continue to kind of shift in that mindset where we can just serve other people and, you know that the fruits will come from it without even expecting it, of course. But
Hmm. Yeah. No, that's huge. Um, So what if somebody, do you only work with people like in the Oklahoma City area, or do you work with people virtually like across the country too, or what's kind of your client base?
Yeah, I do work with people. Thanks to Zoom, I work with pretty much anybody that has a computer and internet access.
Yeah.
So I've definitely this year being able to kind of get back out there and meet people in person. I've made it more of my goal to be more in my community here in
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma City. But I'm able, thankfully, to serve anybody. I've had people in Australia before, which is super cool because I love the Australian accents,
Yeah.
and other states here in the United States. And I've yet to serve people really in Mexico, but I'm like, why not? Maybe
Yeah.
we'll head that way.
Yeah. That's super
Yes.
cool. I think, you know, the pandemic was so disruptive in so many ways.
Hmm.
But I really think there have been some really good changes that came about because of it. Um,
Yeah.
I think live streaming being one of them. Like, I maybe it would have come around eventually, but I don't know that without the push that suddenly not being able to do everything in person like gave people, I don't know that I would be choosing to be live on
Hmm.
camera once a week since March. Like that blows my mind that that's even a thing.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I think you're right. The pandemic definitely pushed us to do so many different things. I mean, live streaming is definitely one of them. And then also, like, I've seen so many, or I've seen definitely a thirst both in companies and employees and just people in general to just really find like meaningful connections. Like, I think
mhm,
that live streaming, although it has been a blessing in itself, the other blessing and on the other side of that coin was that people really saw how disconnected they were from other
mhm,
people. And I think that that really hopefully will continue to unify us in a way that is going to be productive and positive, especially for the communities that we serve and like our state and just our families.
mhm,
Friendship, which I really like that you included friendship in your
mhm,
intro video. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, no, the pandemic pushed us towards different things, even though there was a loss of so many different people. Unfortunately,
mhm.
I know I lost people close to me because of COVID, but you know the things that we gained from it, we should embrace it.
Yep, I agree. I agree. If somebody wanted to work with you, do they go to your website?
Yeah, they can go to my website. You can connect with me by subscribing on the website. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. But by subscribing, you'll get, you know, first dibs on different things that are happening as far as how I can serve you. And yeah, that would definitely be the best way. And there's also a link on there to book a meeting, a consultation. It's free, so we can get on a strategy call and then get moving in that direction. So it is Chris. It's uh, oh
We're fighting with the comments.
so
There it
yeah, there
is.
you go. There's the website. It's AnnaRutherford.com. Just go on there and connect with me.
Yeah. I went to your LinkedIn profile and pulled it up real quick because I didn't
Oh,
do that
cool.
beforehand. So that's good to have that on there.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like what's on the horizon for you? What's coming up in the next 6 to 12 months ish? What you got cooking?
Yeah. So for the next 6 to 12 months, I'm really following, honestly, I'm really just following and being obedient to the plan that God has for my life.
Mm,
So, and I think I mentioned that in the beginning, a lot of that has to do with women and ministry.
mm,
So I will continue down that path and really just continuing to serve faith based women and continuing to serve at my church And that's really where I'm kind of headed. I saw a meme a couple days ago that said, I don't like to talk about things before they're done, but I did write a book. So if I had the confidence to put it out there, hopefully that will be coming out. I'm not going to say hopefully, it should be coming out. But I just kind of wanted to blast myself on there to hold myself accountable.
Yeah.
Because, like lack of confidence, it comes up for us. So, but yeah, God willing, that will happen.
Awesome. That's great. Like, I know a lot of people who have written and I guess self-published books.
Yeah.
Krista Scamahorn, I think we both know her. She wrote a book, and my business coach, he wrote a book, and there's another friend of mine that I know from my career tech days, wrote a book.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like everywhere I turn, like people's like, oh yeah, I wrote a book. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's cool. Like, I love hearing that people are writing books. So what's your book about?
Yes. So it's called Refined Leadership.
Okay.
It's a journey of healing. So leadership mastery after trauma and transforming your life through spiritual intelligence.
That sounds like a book that people need to read. So I'm going to encourage you and support you to get that thing done.
Thank you. I will send you a copy as soon as I start printing them out.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yeah, Chris says, ooh, I need to read that. I think we could all benefit from reading something like that.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that was another thing that I was being obedient on, was just writing or establishing the skeleton of what it was, and then building on the pages. So I'm glad to hear that you think that you need to read it, because that's very, I like to hear that. Cool.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course. So let's switch gears again. Yes. What makes you like, I mean, I know in my opinion, like what makes you fun and interesting, because like that's who I have on my lives, is people who are fun and interesting. But like, what's something like a little known fact that we may not know about Anna?
Yeah. Okay, so I am a mom of 3. Okay. Let's see. I think that kind of makes me fun, just because my kids probably won't admit it, but I'm like really funny. Okay. Like they want to be like, oh, mom jokes, but dude, you guys stay laughing. So I'm doing something right.
All right. So hit us with a joke.
Oh no. Oh gosh. Okay. I really got to be like, okay, let's see. I don't really have any jokes kind of like Chris and his Oklahoma joke. I really wish I did. Let's see. I'm more of like a witty, like on the spot. You know what I mean? Like I'll make something up. But really, other than that, I really think that, let's see. I think what really makes me interesting is that I kind of stopped looking at, I absolutely stopped looking at myself through like the eyes of people, and also the eyes of who I think I should be, and more of who God says I am. And actually like building from a place of who Christ is, like being less than me. That's really where I have seen myself come out more, which is just that has been amazing in itself. But God never ceases to amaze me, and it's just like that continues to bring out more of who I am. So I encourage anybody to really like get lost in Jesus, and see how that continues to affect you, and also the way that you see yourself, and just like respect yourself and respect others. And it's a domino effect that I think everybody should experience.
For sure. That's, Chris said it's one of his all-time favorite topics to talk about, and it's true. Like we talk about it a lot. So that's awesome. I think it's a great reminder for especially like people who are believers, like all right, get back to it and look at yourself the way that God looks at you. So that's awesome. What do you and your kids do for fun?
We currently are doing a lot of swimming.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a lot of swimming, really trying to hang out more with friends. So we try to hang out with friends. Now that my church is here in Oklahoma City, like they are getting more involved in our church or our youth group. So they have a lot of fun in that. But I really just try to keep things interesting. As a single mom, sometimes I try to wear all the hats, and I have to remind myself, like, you know, they have to have fun. You know what I mean? So, but
For
yeah,
sure.
I mean, we try to do the things. Go outside and go to Country City or Whitewater, which I don't think it's called Whitewater. I think it's Hurricane something now.
Water park.
The water park. Thank you. Yes.
Awesome. Well, you sound like a fun mom, so I think that's amazing.
It can be hard, but
How old are your kiddos?
I have twins that are 12 and then a 5-year-old.
Okay.
Yes. So I have a good mix. And the 12-year-olds it's a boy and a girl, Jacob and Sophia. So, I mean, for a minute there, I did not know how I was going to make it through like those preteen years. I was like, what is going on? Like, I hope my daughter doesn't hear me, but it was just like emotional roller coaster. And I was like, okay, Jesus, help me. But no, things have been good. It's crazy how things shift when instead of just like demanding things from your kids, you choose to listen to them. And this is like a word for somebody, I don't know, maybe someone listening, but you know what I mean? Like it just like has shifted my relationship with them. So yeah, that's how old they are. They're fun, but
very cool. My son will be 10 in September, and my daughter just turned 6 the 1st of April. So
they are pretty close in age as
pretty
far as
close.
kids. That's cool.
Yeah, very cool. Hopefully, maybe if I ever make it to Oklahoma City, we could get together and hang out as moms, and the kids could hang out. Like that'd be super fun.
We need to make that. We need to make that happen. Are you like is it an hour away?
Ish, hour and a half to 2, depending on which part of Oklahoma City you're in.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We can definitely talk more about that.
Yes.
Yes, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. Well, we are hitting the hour mark, which I think last week I said that's the fastest hour that's ever been, and I think tonight might even beat that one. I feel like it went so fast. It did.
I feel like it did too, but it was a good fast. But you know,
it was a good fast. It was a good fast. Before we pop off, I want to plug next week, which will be June 21st. We'll be back 7:00 Central Time. I've got Ben Courier on the agenda for next week. He's an Excel guy and has the Failure Guide podcast. So we've had some good conversations and chats, and so he said that he would come on, and which is the second to last. June, what is that? 28th will be my last one with Amanda Duesberg. I'm gonna stop the summer or the evening streams for the summer so that we can focus on summer, and then when fall gets here, football and cheer and everything else that happens in the evening. So I may be doing more like daytime or pop-up lives. But yeah, so only 2 more after tonight for this regular Joyful Julie live in the evenings.
Wow.
So hopefully next week y'all will be back here for that. With that, I think that's good. Oh, Chris is crying.
I know.
But I won't stop streaming completely. We'll just have to, find a different time to fit everything in, because it's all about when you do things. So thank y'all for being here. Thank you, Anna, for coming on and hanging out and sharing with us.
Yes, this was a fun conversation. I'm so glad to have been here, and yeah.
Good.
I look forward to the rest of your 2 lives. So that'll be exciting.
Well,
and then rewatching the one with Phil which I think everybody should watch. If he's saying you happy birthday, we need to go watch it. So
for sure. For sure. So thanks again, Anna. Thank you, Chris, being in the background. And thank you all for being here and being in the comments and making it a fun time. And we will see you next week. Bye.